And there was one example that was just in the paper this week, so let me mention that brings out this point very forcefully, in a way very emotionally. You used to think that you owned your genes, but the U.S. Patent Office didn't know that. And so there was this company, Myriad, who got the patent on the two BRCA genes, and if you had those two BRCA genes, the probability that you get breast cancer is greater than 50%. So it was really important for women to know whether they had that so they could take appropriate action. They wouldn't allow anybody else to develop a test. Yale developed a test that was much better than Myriad's test, and Yale was willing, partly through the support of others, to give it away free, because they thought, as a university, their object was to make people healthy. That's what you thought you were doing. But Myriad said no. They would not allow this better test be even given, let alone given away free. The result of that is lots of women died. So this is not just a question of profits, a transfer. This was a measure life and death. Well, some of us thought that that was outrageous. We filed a suit in district court. We won. But then the drug company Myriad appealed and went to appellate court, and we lost. And then we brought it to the Supreme Court. These battles were always dramatic, and you go up and down, and you answer your question, is there hope? Well, we won in the Supreme Court. And now, just this week, there was a really interesting article pointing out that as a result of this Supreme Court decision, there's been a burst of research. And the cost has come down from somewhere between $5,000 and $2,500 to $250. And the tests have gotten better. So this shows you that you can have a more innovative system. But we had to break out of that religion that the stronger the intellectual property rights, the better. Now, why this is so important right now is the TPP, the trade agreements and the transatlantic agreement that President Obama and Republicans are trying to get through are a step backward. The USTR, U.S. Trade Representative, negotiates, does not understand intellectual property. It's trying to put provisions in this bill that would make it more difficult to regulate for health, education, the environment, every aspect of our life. For those who are lawyers, it's a provision that's equivalent to a regulatory taking provision that would make it very difficult to regulate. And an example, this is not just a hypothetical, but it's a real example. I don't know how many of you know about the Opium War. Opium in China used to have a lot of things that the West wanted, and this was in the 19th century. And the West had nothing that China wanted. So what happened? There's what we call a trade imbalance. And then Europe figured out a way of solving the trade imbalance. And it figured out that it could export opium to China. Now, as I teach, do some teaching in the business school, the best products are those that have repeat purchase, customer loyalty. And opium was an ideal product. And so you got a lot of customer loyalty. But the Chinese government said this is not really good for our society. And they said no more opium. The European powers, supported by the United States, said, you are violating our basic rights, our right to kill, our right to export goods. And they went to war. When I say war, literally war. Twice. And that's how they got the concessions along the east coast of China. Well, the USTR, your government, our government, is now fighting the 21st century opium war. You may not know this. The new form of opium is not opium, but
cigarettes. Well, there are many, actually, but it's cigarettes.
Prescription pills also.
What?
Prescription opium.
Yeah. So, but it's cigarettes, and two countries, Uruguay and Australia, have passed legislation saying that it's not banning cigarettes, but doing something really mild, like we have in the United States, and like Mayor Bloomberg was trying to do in New York. You have to label the package. This is dangerous for your health. Now, in Australia, they do it a little bit more graphically. They show you what your lungs look like with smoking. And Philip Morris has taken the view, rather rightly, that this discourages sales. And so their view is that hurts their profits. Of course, that was the intent, to discourage their sales. So it's working. But under these investment agreements, Australia and Uruguay either have to cease and desist this or compensate Philip Morris. They have to pay Philip Morris not to kill people. And this is in the agreement, the trade agreement that Obama is pushing now. So if you want to understand why a lot of people are getting exercised about this, and that it's not just a minor thing. This is not just, are we going to have a little bit more imports of Japanese cars or exports of Japanese cars? This is not just about cars. This is about our lives.